of God, there's no contradiction. Everything just sits quietly and nicely. So don't let me veer to another thing. You've got the big picture from God, but you don't have the details yet, and you want to move with the big picture. Is that a risk? Is that there's nothing wrong in taking risks to start with. Remember, we said tough calls are risk anyway. So don't let's even predicate it on whether it's a risk or not. Risks are good. The whole Christian life is a risk to an extent. So I don't have problem with risk. We have to. Don't go away from here with that impression that we have to. I'm standing here because I've taken risk. It's a journey. When Abraham left the land of Hor and was going into the promised land, God did not give him the full map, did he? Faith for me to step out based on the big picture without waiting for the full details, or how much of full details should I wait for before I step out? Does that is a question all of you can relate to? Good. And so the answer is very implicit, isn't it? Number one, God has just given you the big picture. Don't stop praying. That's my suggestion. And I'm sure anybody here can answer that question now since we've teased it out. Don't stop praying. Can start taking little steps. Remember your lines again. Be ready to be maneuverable. If God says, listen, it's a journey. When Abraham left the land of Hor and was going into the promised land, God did not give him the full map, did he? No, he did not. Even GPS don't give you full map. Well, you can read it if you want to, but if you really want to follow instruction of the GPS, it will first tell you, take the second exit. Good ones will say, after the second exit, prepare to turn right. You agree with me? But can you imagine for a moment the GPS in your own car as you start off from the driveway or from wherever you park, and it says, head to the main road, go 3 miles, turn right. When you go further down the road, there's a roundabout there, turn left and right, stop, there will be a traffic light, and it downloaded 10 minutes of instruction for you as you are driving out. Do you see how easy it is to reach your destination? That's exactly why God gives instructions step by step. They are easier to follow. And it's always very helpful for us to follow his pattern. He started right from the devil and there's always this thing like this. See chapter 3 of Genesis. There's something that should have told you. There's nothing that should have told you for that moment. When you needed to know it, you will know it. Leave your father's house, your kindred, and your family, and go to the land that I will what? Show you.
Still I will follow, though none go with me. Still I will follow, no turning back, no turning back.
Thank you so much, sir.
I may wander, I still will follow.
The experience you've had.
Though I may wander, I still will follow.
What you told us about, because that really touched me. Because in my mind, I believe when it comes to rough decisions, it has to do with people.
No
For example, family, you have to think of your children, your wife, his ministry, working with people who are it's not in the Bible, but there's a saying that you are falling into that. There's a saying, they say the voice of people is the voice of God. People have, maybe God is trying to use this brother to speak to me. And again, if I take it a bit further, working with people, maybe when you call the community together, because I wrote it down that you share the vision with the team. Is it that the brother did not catch the vision? Is it that he did not believe in it? So when it comes to ask my question, just in my mind thinking the place of vision when it comes to tough decisions, and when it looks looks like people do not catch vision, or maybe they do not think it's the right thing to do. You mentioned in passing why. I was wondering how you can help us with this. It's something very important.
Thank you very much. Let me give a start to that one. If you have comments or you want to help us further, please feel free to do so. Very profound question, very profound. And you're talking from the position of a leader, casting a vision and not the rest of that. All visions will be tested. And most people begin to divert from their vision when obstacles arise. So you could have caught the vision, but I told you the money was not coming in. I told you it was looking bigger than you thought. And immediately, because of level of maturity, because maybe part of the providence of God so that I can tell this story, because he was not the primary visionary, it was very easy for him to be diverted from it. There are many people that started out in the Bible. They could not reach the land. Israel wanted to get to the promised land, but opposition and obstacles of life changed their vision. So, many a times you cast vision, even as leaders, and you are very right. If God had not been gracious unto one, I could have used that sound principle. You don't even need to use the secular saying or the voice of people. I could have used Proverbs 11:14. In the multitude of counsel, that's the multitude of counsel. Those are my counselors. So the devil could have used that as a basis for us to move away from that. So the question really that you have asked is, how vulnerable are visions on the journey? GPS. You start counting down. You are now 5 miles away from there. And you've been turning this, you've been turning that. And suddenly you recalculate. You are now suddenly 7 miles. You're still going on. If it's one of the older ones, I didn't tell you because traffic condition has made him to recalculate and change. He changes again. After a while, you start losing confidence in that GPS. An opposition of life is the greatest hindrance to any vision. And so, that is one thing leaders and everybody must factor in. It does not always go as you think it will go. But that does not mean the end has changed. The journey may suddenly have been recalculated and made longer, but never forget you will still get there. That's one area where I suggest stubbornness a little bit. Let's see how this will end. And I always guide people. I say, you pursue this for so long, get to the point of total failure, and then you will never have regret. I mean, you know that's a closed chapter. Don't stop 2 miles from there. Don't stop. Just fail completely. Then you know that that's a fail. It might take a year of your life. It might take 2. But believe you me, 5 years down the line to pay for itself. So, though we say we are not risk takers, you are sensing some risk in that now. And whether you like it or not, is a reality of life. So, sir, I think my understanding for that was not so much vision, and because I think we casted the vision. I thought they understood the vision. And because even the previous one, they would have rode on that. It's very easy now to say they just finished one. I mean, so and they were not there when I said, you guys did this one. You should have just said, okay, if you did this less than 2 years ago, this is doable now. But the devil is very cunning. He decided to bring another reason. The reason is that the one you did, instead of leveraging on that, you are doing this one because you are now big-headed. And the devil will always come with something else. Amen. May the Lord help us. Amen. Okay, Pastor Eda.
Yeah, I would just like to confirm that. I was counseling a man, and 32 years, I think it was, he applied to go to Bible school and everything. He fasted, he prayed, he put a deadline on it. And you know, the answer was actually in the post. And because we have no post at the weekend, the answer didn't come till Monday. So he said, no, God doesn't want me to go. And he was never, ever content. He struggled through his work. You know, he was a born leader, but he just never filled the call because he's so set. The mindset said, no, it never comes, so God doesn't want me. I said, but it did come. The answer was in the mail. I says, you need that flexibility.
Absolutely.
For the answers. So we really do
Amen.
have to watch that bit.
Okay, thank you. Very good, very good, very good. And that's the same issue of drawing the line. And it's usually, respectfully, hope I'm not being too hard. It's something I've been dealing with and I've dealt with. Hope God will help me finish dealing with it. It's the issue of pride. We want to save face. We all want to appear tough. Nobody wants to appear that, well, I've changed my direction. Feel free, feel free. The end will tell. Okay? All right. Okay, I think we make that the final. They've been telling me time up, but I'm ready to stay here. Yes,
sir.
A
quick addition to this, and you picked on the last point. A leader that has a testimony to share, similar to what he's asking you to do in a new vision, it's a given. And there's a place of leadership and a place of sharing a vision. If your vision is being questioned at the last minute, not at the beginning where it's been ratified, I think there's a problem. So you assign responsibilities to people. Sometimes they might not be the right people, and that is a learning also for that leader. I've assigned it to this man has done well in a particular place.
That's true.
Then no, maybe he's not the right one, and I have misjudged that particular assignment to him. Okay. Because I know the history of the Palmerston, I know the history of this place. I know the history of Pastor Darkness Church. So the three men involved cannot tell me now that they want to, when I have the testimonies and I've been part of it, and I ask them questions. So I think, I'll hate to know who this person is, but but when you have great men that have visions and they have testimonies to back it up, I think the man is shortchanging himself. Because I don't know how he'll look at you. I don't know if it's still in your church. It can be, it must be disheartening to see it happen where he has failed. So I think that is another learning. How do you bring that kind of person back into the fold? Thank you.
Yeah. My answer is probably not typical that we'll give now. Let's see the providence of God in this. Let's see God building a story for himself in this. Let's just see that. Let's see that. I totally agree with you. Principles to be learned, which must be followed. Track records are very important. I think Acts chapter 13, it says there was a prophet, there was a man, Agabus, whose daughters prophesied. He said it was the same him that prophesied that would be famine in somewhere, and the famine took place. And immediately after that, he then told Paul something or something like that. You remember that part of the Bible? Okay. Why did the Bible say that? Track record. This man has been prophesying. The last prophecy he gave was true. And therefore, and even, when he prophesied unto Paul and all the rest of that, Paul was even working. Of course, the prophecy came to pass. You are a senior apostle. My track record is speaking. How much more when the role was reversed? It was Paul that was even, if we look at, church government hierarchy, it was Paul that was above. And God was saying, this younger man has a track record. Paul listened. But providence of God was that Paul must go to Jerusalem. So the prophecy was true. Paul decided to go to Jerusalem to Jerusalem so that he could die there and all the rest of that. So I think it's more the providence of God, but the lesson is learned for everybody, including myself. When visionary people that God has placed by our side, whether they are, people hierarchically God has placed above us, or our peers, or people that God has placed coming after us, let's look at what God has done. It does not necessarily mean that we do it again, but let that open you up. Let that bring the benefit of the doubt. Don't just have that audacity, and that's where you were going. That would have a bit audacious to just then rubbish everything. And I said, big head, where was that coming from? Why would you think that? But remember, there's an enemy outside there that is always also playing his game with every one of us. So the lesson is that you and I are not immune from that. Let's be careful, and the Lord will help us. God bless you all. Thank you very much.